Now, quickly. Bennett Gray, you just ate your body weight in sugar. You don't need a cookie right now. Definitely highly... Filming on the weekends is incredibly difficult. Hey makeup friends, today we are talking about things that I am not going to buy. Let's do this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. Before we get into the video, I do want to give you a little bit of information on what I am wearing. So on my eyes, I do have the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and on my lips is a liquid lipstick from the Lip Bar, and this one is in the shade Boy Trouble. Love this color, and also this formula is like top 3 of liquid lipstick formulas for me, and they come in at around like the $9 to $10 range. So if you're interested in liquid lipsticks in specific, I do have an affiliate link and an affiliate code. That information is in the description box. The jewelry, I think it was in a bit of a fugue state when I bought both of these items, because I am pretty sure I've never seen these earrings before in my life. I just saw them in like my little holder and was like, I've never seen you before. Let's wear you. The necklace, no idea where I bought it from. But I want to take 1 second to talk about this sweater. I don't know. I'll have to look. I think Ricky's is purely Canadian, but for any Canadian peeps out there, I now live in this cardigan. It is so comfy and cozy. It's basically like sweatshirt material, but it's got like the little lapels. It does have a hood, but the hood isn't too thick and it lies nicely against the back. It has pockets. There's like a little bit of an elastic band across the back to give a bit of shape, and I live in it. I want every single color of it. It is so comfy. So there we have that. Okay, now the other exciting thing about today's video is that I'm doing it in collaboration with my friend Linda, also known as Glitter Fallout here on YouTube. If you have not checked Linda out yet, you need to. Absolutely need to. There's going to be an iCard. She's going to be linked in the description box down below. Please go and check her out as well. If you like me, you're absolutely going to love her. Linda is like similar sort of personality as me, only way cooler. Like, she is such a cool chick. And she's doing a lot of like Project Pan, and she's doing a low-buy year this year. And I've really enjoyed watching her content because I myself am not on a formal low-buy, but it's just sort of been that that's what has happened. I just haven't been overly inspired by the makeup releases so far this year. That's not to say I haven't bought some makeup. I certainly have, but I just haven't felt as like driven to buy makeup as I did in the last years. If you recall from last year, if you've been around for a while, I tried to do a makeup budget, failed miserably, and basically gave up altogether after I think 2 or 3 months. This year, I haven't put any like formal structure around myself, and yet I have spent far less on makeup, at least so far this year, than I did even in like the first month of 2021. So feeling pretty good about that, and I really do enjoy watching Linda and other creators. I really enjoy watching content that isn't just specific to new releases. I'm not watching a lot of reviews right now. I'm not watching a lot of new release videos, but anti-hauls, Project Pans, just talking about makeup in general, rankings, favorites, all of that kind of thing. That is the content that I'm really enjoying at the moment. So again, if you haven't checked out Linda, please be sure to do so after you watch this video. We are both doing an anti-haul, and I can't wait to see which items she has picked. So let's get into it. I have, how many did I select? I've got 10 items here. Some of them are a little bit older, but you know what? So am I, and that's okay. So let's start off with one of the ones that I think is the oldest of the new releases. And isn't it kind of crazy that an old release is like from February? Like, I'm filming on April 2nd. February was not that long ago, although honestly it kind of feels like it was, but it really wasn't. And yet somehow those are old makeup releases now. It gets a little overwhelming. Anyways, the one that I am referring to in specific is the Hershey's Kiss collection from Glamlight. So no interest whatsoever on my end for this. I will say some of these palettes do have really pretty color stories. I don't think any of them have any particularly unique color stories, but what really stops me from wanting to purchase any of these is just the shape of the actual palette itself. I have no interest in storing oddly shaped items. There was a time where I thought it was really cute and kitschy. I mean, I bought their pizza palette and the burger palette and the taco palette, I think is what it was. I had all of those. They have since been long decluttered from my collection, and I just feel like at this moment I'm really more about function over form. I'm not interested in buying cute or quirky or unique. I just want functionality, and I don't want to store this. I don't want to buy 5 different palettes. Like it's too much for me. So this is one that, you know, as much as I can appreciate the color stories, it's just nothing that I want. And it really doesn't bring anything to the table for my collection except a pain in the ass to store. And I have enough pains in my ass at this moment. I don't need to be purchasing additional ones. So let's move on from there. Speaking of oddly shaped palettes, there's a new brand that's just been announced on the Trend Mood page, and it's called Rem Beauty, and they have this entire collection which appears to be inspired by Jimi Hendrix. There's nothing in this collection that really appeals to me. The small 9-pan palettes remind me of the Sigma palettes, and again, I don't have any issues with the actual color story, but what's really just sticking out at me is this guitar-shaped palette. Again, a few years ago, that's the kind of thing that would be like, oh, that's so unique and cool, I must have it. But here we are today, and I know that if I have that, it's just gonna drive me insane because storing it's just gonna be a massive pain in the ass. We've already established I don't need any more of those. And again, the color stories are, they're forgettable, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, no disrespect, it's a brand new brand. Maybe it's an amazing formula. Obviously, I have no idea, but this is the kind of collection that, like, at the end of this year, if I was to do like a recap of items or new brands that came out, I honestly don't think I'll remember this. I truly don't, and therefore it's not anything that I need to put money towards. Okay. A new brand that did get released at the end, well, towards the end of 2021 was Rem Beauty, which is Ariana Grande's brand. I did purchase one of the palettes. I have a lipstick, and I bought something else, oh, a lip gloss, I think. Very underwhelmed by the lip gloss, very underwhelmed by the eyeshadow palette. I did use it in a video. I can't remember which one it was. I don't remember. But I did use it in like a get ready with me style video, and I eventually had to reach for additional products in order to like boost the impact on my eyes. So they have just released 3 new palettes, and I'm not interested. Even if I was like wildly in love with the color story, which again, I'm not. There's nothing so special about these that makes me think like, okay, well, I'll give them a second chance. Even if I was really drawn to a color story, my experience with that initial palette turns me off of this. It was just very lackluster. The mattes were fine, they built up okay, they blended out fine. I didn't really have any complaints about those. Where the palettes really fell short for me though was the shimmers. They just did not shimmer at all, and I am one who does enjoy having impactful foil-like shimmers on my eyes. Am I wearing that today? Not really, but that kind of fit with the whole aesthetic of this one. However, Rem Beauty is just kind of a womp for me. It's really not anything all that great. Also, the shipping experience that I had with them when I did purchase just really kind of turned me off. Again, it took, I want to say, close to 5 to 6 weeks for my items to actually reach me. That's excessive. That's not something I'm interested in. And as a YouTuber, if I was to purchase this and have to wait another 5 weeks or so to get it, as I've already established at the beginning of this video, it then makes it an old release and it's no longer relevant. So for a multitude of reasons, I will not be purchasing the Rem Beauty eyeshadow palettes. Now, an item that I actually did attempt to purchase, or at least add to cart, mull it over, and then probably exit the cart, but there was an actual attempt to add it to cart. And that is those are the new face products from Zara Beauty. So there is a concealer and a foundation. The problem that I ran into, and maybe it was user error, I can completely own that, but the problem that I faced was on the website, there was absolutely no shade descriptions. None whatsoever. So there are something like 40 shades or something along those lines. I can kind of narrow it down to a window, but based on the pictures that they had on their website, I could not tell which shade would be appropriate. And they weren't like overly pricey, but I'm not going to buy 3 or 4 different foundations with the hopes that one of them will work. I want to know the shade descriptions. Does it have a cool undertone? Does it have a warm undertone? Is it light or is it light medium? Because that does make a difference, especially depending on the time of year. So I just had a really impossible time deciding which one would work for me, because they did have like some swatches, if I recall correctly, or they had like a shade selector that helped you narrow it down and then gave you shade names. God, it's been like 2 weeks now, I don't remember. But whatever it was, when you actually looked at like the grid of shades and tried like hover the mouse over top or add it to the cart and then go to the cart to see what it said, zero information whatsoever except for what the product was. Yeah, I'm not a magician, so how in the hell am I supposed to know what I'm buying if you don't tell me? So that just obviously turned me off, because I was like, this is just a shot in the dark. I'm not going to play Russian roulette with foundation. I'll just keep my money. Thanks for making that decision easy for me, Zara. All right, next up is one that makes me a little bit nervous, because sometimes people just kind of like, whenever I say things like this, but I'm not interested in the newest Pat McGrath collection, the new Bridgerton Part 2 collection. I have tried a number of Pat McGrath items, and while they're fine and they're good, I don't understand the like fervor that goes on behind it. Like, I don't understand why people get so head up about these releases. I don't understand. They're not life-changing. At least that's been my experience. So I did buy a lot of items, 2 items. I bought the cheek palette and the eyeshadow palette from the Bridgerton Part 1. I did say when I did my review on that the shipping drove me nuts, and I'll never order from their site again, because I paid for expedited shipping and still it took the better part of 4 weeks for it to arrive. So why did I pay for expedited shipping? And if you couldn't guarantee it, why did you charge for expedited shipping? And then when you shipped it well beyond the date that you had promised to actually deliver it by, why didn't you refund me the expedited shipping? And also, when I emailed you about that, why didn't you respond? So there's a number of factors going on here. Regardless, looking at the products for what they are, I just know that this is the kind of palette that I would get, I would review, and then I'm probably not going to wear again. It just doesn't fit with the aesthetics that I'm going for these days. I have said it before, I will say it again. I am now firmly in camp neutral. I don't know when that happened, but it's just been a bit of a progression, and here we are, and I'm loving it. I make no apologies for it, but it also means that when I'm looking at palettes that are being released, if it's a bunch of color, it's not really floating my boat, and I know that I would only be buying it for review purposes, and frankly, I don't have the energy for that right now. I don't have the money for that right now, to just be buying things for the sake of buying them to share my thoughts with other people and not actually enjoy it myself. And furthermore, buy it knowing that I'm not going to be wildly in love with it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I have a lot of other plans and a lot of other financial goals in mind right now, that buying very expensive collections just doesn't really fit in with that plan. The other items that are in here, I don't even know what it's called. The lipsticks, you know what, honestly, I have tried her matte formula. Are these matte? No, okay, so these ones are the satin shine finish. These ones I do enjoy. The matte formula from Pat McGrath I do not enjoy. These ones, I have these colors, I don't need these colors, but if you are in the market for one of these colors, I think you'll like the formula, because it is very hydrating and very creamy on the lips, very easy to apply, no streakiness, anything of that sort. What the hell is that other thing? Oh, the scintillating diamond body shimmer. I will never use that. Will absolutely never use that. So this is just a big old collection that actually made it very simple for me to say no thank you to. So going back to my point on the whole, like, if a palette has a ton of color in it, it's not super exciting to me right now. There are exceptions to that. Don't hold me to, like, I'm not going to just buy exclusively neutral palettes from here on out, but I am very, like, conscientious when I'm looking at colorful palettes to really decide, is that something that I can honestly see myself getting multiple uses out of, or is it going to be review and done? Let's talk then about the newest Novena palette. Is it just me? I don't think it's just me. In fact, I know it's not just me, but Novena's like, if the radar's here, like I'm never looking for it. I'm never thinking about it. I'm never like actively searching out on Instagram to see what's coming up or what's going to be. So when this dropped, I was like, oh, okay, so that's that. It's not available yet. I'm not sure when it is, but I did see it, and maybe I'm lying. I'm pretty sure, I did. I saw it on the Sephora Canada website, but with like coming soon. So it's got to be coming soon, or else it wouldn't be on the site already. Regardless, this is the Pro Pigment Palette Volume 6, or also known as the Surge Palette from Blend Bunny. I don't need this. I have the Surge Palette. I adore the Surge Palette. I absolutely don't need this one, and I'm not going to be buying it. So there's that. Another palette that, while colorful, is much more muted. It is very pastel and soft and gentle and beautiful and completely outside of my envelope of comfort. What in the fuck phrase was that? Comfort zone? Jesus. Okay, so it's well outside of my comfort envelope of comfort? How did those words even string themselves together? Wow. Okay, anyways, it is outside of my comfort zone, and also I've worked with pastels before. They do not flatter me. I don't enjoy working with them. I don't think that they do anything for me. So the pastel palette from Natasha Denona was a very easy pass for me. I have no doubt that people could make this look incredible on themselves, but it's not going to work for me. And even if it did work for me, I don't necessarily want it to work for me. I'm just not a pastel fan. Like, I can appreciate it on other people, but I never sit down and think like, ah, yes, I want Easter egg eyes. Like, it just doesn't occur to me. And this was just a very easy no thank you for me as well. So glad to save that money. Now, one that is very neutral in nature and therefore arguably could be up my alley, but one that I am not going to buy, is the newest one from Fenty Beauty. This is the Sunstalker Bronze and Highlight Palette. It comes with some of the Sunstalker shades in there, as well as 2 shimmery shadows. For what it is, I do like it. I think it's very, well, I don't think it's pretty. I can imagine that it would make very pretty eye looks. Or very like bronzy, like sun goddessy kind of looks. Where I think this would be perfect though is for working artists, because you have a transition shade for basically any skin tone there. You have bronzers for any skin tone. This I think would be a great addition to a makeup kit. Coming from somebody who has literally never worked as a makeup artist, so I could just be completely talking out my ass, but I think that this would fit into that kind of category. But as an everyday consumer, this just isn't necessary in my collection. I have neutral shades out the wazoo. I don't need any more. Not to say I won't buy any more, but this isn't the one I'm gonna buy. So wanted to include it here because I'm not gonna buy it. So then, yes, another one that makes me nervous. Another one, Charlotte Tilbury. There's like cult following for Charlotte Tilbury, and I have enjoyed some of the products that I've had from her. I've enjoyed them immensely, especially the highlight ones. They're beautiful. But for the most part, I am underwhelmed by most of what I try from Charlotte Tilbury. So she's coming out with a new Pillow Talk collection because of course she is. Pillow Talk is the new orgasm. And it doesn't float my boat. There's nothing that makes me excited in here. The highlighting palette thing, the Pillow Talk Multi-Glow Highlighter, it looks like that should have been released in like 2012-ish, 2013-ish. I'm just trying to think of like Physicians Formula had a lot of these, like Bobbi Brown had these. It just like, it feels retro to me. It's also really sad that like 2012 is retro, but here we are, it was a decade ago. Isn't that horrifying? Anyways, it just, like, those things didn't appeal to me then, and it sure as hell doesn't appeal to me now. The eyeshadow palettes, I have had 2, possibly 3 of her eyeshadow palettes, and they underwhelm me. I need a thesaurus. I need a different word for underwhelm. They disappointed me. Disappoint would be a good word. I ultimately decluttered them because I just never used them. They just, again, very lackluster. It suits some people's aesthetics, certainly, but I just didn't enjoy it. And there's nothing in here that really like piques my interest. So we're just gonna say no to that one. So that brings us to the last item then. And if out of all these items I've talked about today, there is one that I might actually purchase despite including it in this video, it's this one. And this is the new Rose Perfect Liquid Lip Balm from Givenchy. First of all, they look really pretty. They look really cool. It's not a good enough reason to buy makeup, but they look really cool. Follow that up though with, as soon as you take that wand out and put it back in, it's not gonna look cool anymore. Like those little swirls, they're all gonna get mixed together. So I'm not gonna buy it simply because it looks cool. I like the idea of it. I like the way they look in all of the like swatch pictures and all of this. It's $45 for a liquid lip balm. Is a liquid lip balm any different than a lip gloss? Is it? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. Regardless, there are some pretty shades in there. They do look really pretty. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Maybe. This is the kind of thing I'm like, let's put a pin in you. Let's just put a pin in it. Let's sit and wait and see, maybe on the last day of the Sephora sale, if I haven't purchased it then and I still really want it, maybe then I will bite the bullet. But for now, I've added it to cart, taken it out, added it, taken it out. It's now living in my loves list, and I'm just actively trying to ignore it so that it just recedes from the recesses of my, wow, I am struggling so hard. I'm struggling. Anyways, so that it fades from memory. There was a very simple way of saying that. But don't be surprised if I do pick one up eventually. I genuinely don't know which way I'm gonna go on this. So there you have it, guys. Those are 9 items that I am most definitely not going to be buying, and 1 item that I am probably not going to be buying, but time will tell. We shall see. I am very excited to see what Linda has included in her video. Please be sure to go and check out Glitter Fallout on YouTube. Again, it's going to be linked down below. Tell her I said hi, and please leave her a blue heart emoji. Linda needs and deserves all the love right now, so please be sure to go over. She's going through a very difficult time. She's suffered a very sad loss right now, so please be sure to go and give her some love. With all of that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I ask that you consider doing so, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.